As I put images or not. Hello there, welcome to our first news Roxy. We're doing when I've been at for 8 years. My name is Space/Man. This is what you say about me. It's what you say about society. We do have some really crazy cool things to discuss today. Now we're in around 4 days in, if I'm right. 4 days in with this entire place in flames. We're not done, right? We still have something to do. Okay, so Tectone is out of the way. Gone. Gone out of the equation. We don't have to worry about him. All the loyal fans can stay with him. All the ones who are, embarrassed to support him they can scatter. They'll scatter. Don't worry about that. It's a psychological thing. It's something you can get with the internet whenever you embarrass a content creator with genuine evidence saying that they were accused of certain things that, well, to keep this video monetized, I'm not going to curse this time, right? I'm going to keep it, and it's mainly a report in the news. I'm going to update you on how things went. So, basically, the entire, all of social media, for those who care, who are around, who are informed of things that were going on and not just ignoring everything and watching Instagram Reels and TikToks. For us that we're genuinely interacting with what's going on, we have lots that I can break down. But I'm going to summarize it because most people do not care if I go on for 30 minutes. So I'm going to shorten this and let's see. I got 30 seconds to place down a few notes, and then you're going to devour the rest once I get into explaining what went on. So the entire platform went to Fra. All of Twitter, all of Instagram, all of Meta, all of YouTube, all of the popular platforms that you could know of went into an entire war. It was just a war. People were battling. Like all sorts of people you never thought would have been involved began to get themselves involved. We had celebrities, scientists, content creators, archaeologists, VTubers. We had dancers, musicians, companies, and just music artists, and normies and non-normies battling it out for the past few days. And so much has been going on. Like, there is nothing that could tell me more that what is going on in Roblox and VTuberism as a whole, music and art as a whole, just the basic political scene as a whole has been extremely charged up, like the highest possible, right? You would have seen Target just all of these trends break out in virality because of what went on for the past few days. Basically, Tectone has been civilly liable for SA in stalking and other things, but main focus is SA and stalking and the doxing of documents. I've yet to go down into legal mindset. Legal mindset is basically a con man that poses himself as a lawyer. He certainly brings up certain terms relating to the law, but he is not somebody you can trust. I did expose the man, and I did attract some of his fans. I did expose Tectone. I exposed Asmon Gold. I exposed Nicholas Light. I debated Nicholas Light, by the way, for those who were kept up, who paid attention, were watching TikToks and Instagram Reels while laughing at themselves with their friends or some people that they know online. I've seen people do that to cope with the reality, just to reject reality. I've seen people try to make fun of Roblox players for the bad updates recently, and I'm just like, you have no idea what's going on. You're gonna most likely wonder, why did everything suddenly get better? I told this to people 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, even as recent as 3 weeks ago, and I said, I most likely, for those who are not involved, would not notice, because things are kind of going away by themselves, they don't have to worry, it's not happening to them, it's not their business, it's not their taste, it's not their thing. I always heard that, and I always wonder why the world suddenly goes like really terrible, and then it suddenly goes back to normal, like nothing happened. Well, actually, something did happen, and lots of people got hurt in a way, but not to worry. We're not talking about those people. Let's talk about the news that matters, because you know what? I'm thankful for all the ones who joined me in this entire battalion of just what was going on. Creecraft, Wild Hearts, all these other creators who I wish I could list. Just look into my followers list. Look into who I follow. Those are the people I support. It's not the full story, but we do have things that I want to share. So we're going to play this clip of this one man who was cosplaying as Batman at a hearing today, right? He interrupted. He was doing a public comment, and I just really want you to hear how he talks to the people for the Santa Clara City Council. And this has been happening in my state as well, right? We still have Senator Rick Scott, right? He's still around. Ron DeSantis is still around, but nobody cares about my state. Let's focus on this. All right. You probably want to listen to this guy, berate these people. So I'm gonna play the clip, and I'm gonna let you devour this because all you are is devouring. So the ones who genuinely do join my Discord server are the ones who will be helping me spread the message around, right? And we will be doing lots of. Have gotten into legal battles. Yes, that has happened. And people who are not involved are either completely blind, right, and just out of touch, or outside the box. But we're on the front lines. I think the ones who won't care won't care. But let's play this clip of this cosplayer in wearing a Batman costume, basically giving sense to his city council.
I don't give a damn if this is outside of decorum. People are dying on our streets every single day in this country because we allow this federal government to walk all over you. Look me in the eye. Can any one of you go home to your children and tell them that you did everything you could to protect their classmates, to protect their grandparents, to protect them? I don't think you can, with the exception of Park. Thank you. This needs to have happened 2 months ago, but you can still make it up and make every single policy on this little sheet of paper here happen right now. Happen before the Super Bowl. Happen before potentially hundreds of masked men come into our city and kill people. I am disgusted by each and every one of you, with the exception of Councilmember Park, that you have not done something more. You need to affirm that no city resources will go to ICE, that no cooperation will be given to them. You need to affirm to the country, to the world, that you are not cowards. Because as of right now, I stand in front of a council of cowards. And if you do not act, you're not just cowards, you are traitors.
And again, he says it well said, well said, well said. We don't need any other things coming from the man. As of now, some of the largest, most vocal speakers on the entire dilemma around Minnesota and the general strike going on in Minnesota, if anybody has done their actual research, they would have known that a general strike has never happened over there since the last 70 to 80 years. Let me repeat, 70 to 80 years. I don't want anybody trying to downplay this one. All right, what I've been doing, right, in the past few hours, and every constant event, every time I sit down in my seat to record a video for all the cadets who still watch these videos, right, and some of them are not watching on YouTube. I have to repost some of these on the other platforms I use, and the ones who actually do generally care. I've been recently fact-checking a bunch of actual huge names in the content creation scene. I've been fact-checking them, right, and I took some of their attention. I've been blocked by a few famous ones already, right. That's something that's been worth telling, right? And all the cadets are literally spreading the word around, right? I have actual people on the ground over there in the internet spreading the message around. Some of the largest vocal speakers currently right now is Mark Ruffalo. If anybody knows who Mark Ruffalo is the literal actor for the Hulk from the Avengers, the cinematic scene. We have Ariana Grande, and Katy Perry also speaking up on this entire thing. And we have Lady Gaga next in the line, who also is speaking about this. Green Day and even Bruce Springsteen is also speaking up on this, and as well as water parks. Water parks are also speaking up on this, and Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bill Nye is also speaking up on it, and we have all sorts of, I can name the list of just famous people who are just now saying this, right? Their careers are in danger. And now we have Bad Bunny as well. Bad Bunny are also vocalizing his sayings about the entire thing, because if anybody wants to admit ICE is purely just the modern neo-Nazi. It's like the modern Nazis. It isn't really the neo-Nazis. They're still human beings, but they're people who have went past empathy, right? They don't have sympathy or empathy. Most of them are merely new recruits who don't know what they're doing. So, of course, you don't try to treat them like criminals immediately, but you will want to perceive them as something really dangerous because Donald Trump basically tells them whatever they want, right? They're basically not attached to the law. He's trying to put that as a message to not attach them to the law. And now I'm gonna have to make sure I check in the game I'm in, or else it thinks that I'm basically gone. Okay, I'm gonna do this, do that, checking. Okay, 11 minutes in. So we're not done with this yet because I'm waiting for chibi reviews. We have already dealt with Tectone, right? And we've dealt with Rev Says Desu. Rev Says Desu's basically been canceled. His wife is also stupid, right? His wife is also stupid. But hey, that's only talking. We actually have to put a little bit of action into it. No worries, no worries. We're working on something related to that because we know how some people go around saying, well, you can say it, but are you really acting upon those words? You're right. And we have, actually. Most normies actually don't do anything. All they do is complain to the ones actually taking the action while we're doing the action, while saying that we're not doing action. Really ironic, right? You gotta think really deeply about that. It's really ironic. Now, we have. So what my idea is Red Says Desu, Asmongold, are purely the voices who are, spreading misinformation, hatred, toxicity, disliking towards most minorities who don't even fit more than 1% of the United States. Yeah, insane. We're throwing all this hatred for less than 1% of the United States, which are trans people, which are less than 1% of the United States. Yes, less than 1% of the United States, for some reason, are portrayed as criminals by right-wingers. Now, it's past right-wing, which we've already discussed on the channel. It is more like these people basically want white people to be the powerful race again, right? You don't have to think about right-wing. If you're right-wing, what does right-wing mean, right? It's more like, okay, it's past being associated to a political party. You just hate people for not being white. It is as simple as that, right? And I mean, there's a post here saying Lady Gaga plans their Tokyo concert to condemn ICE and support people all over America who were being mercilessly targeted by ICE. And that can go forever. And then she says this entire thing. We have posts of this going on. There's entire concerts going on where artists are just saying basically this. F ICE, F ICE, F ICE. They're just repeatedly saying it, right? They're saying F Trump over at their concerts in front of thousands of people. And then there's people like me and all these other creators who are also saying F ICE and taking action, and we're actually basically investigating every single right-wing content creator that we possibly know. Now some of their plan is to basically investigate these people legitimately, like actual court case. So here's one of the crazy ideas that I want to put in precision to some of these content creators, which I've now taken the attention of, fortunately. Yes, I've taken the attention of a few. Look, out of all the things I could get famous for, none of my creative arts get famous. It's literally mean politics. Ironically, the channel never started for politics. It started because of gaming. Ironically, I'm getting famous because of politics. Isn't that ironic in and of itself? But I had this proposition. If we can get Tectone civilly liable for SA and stalking and, manipulation and the blackmailing he did and the doxing of legal documents and, photos of, his partner that, she won the court case saying, hey, you did SA, you did this, this. If we can get him in trouble, why haven't we done the same for Nicholas Light? What about Nicholas Light? What about Asmongold? What about Red Says Desu, Chibi Reviews, Strabi? Why haven't they been investigated? We were able to pull off with Tectone. Why haven't they been investigated? Because if people are throwing all, if the right wing media gets to say all this crazy shit, right, and even more, right, we have Parrot. Like, this is a crazy name. I have to say his name because he doesn't reveal his name as much. Parrot Fortune, right? Parrot Fortune. I hate that. That's his name. Literally, I have to say that. I have to literally say that. That's crazy. That's his actual name, Parrot Fortune. I don't know why, but why haven't we been able to play the same game that they are doing it? Why aren't we investigating them? But rather than like doing this like, oh, it's a social media drama thing, why don't we genuinely take a court case to their face and say, hey, let's investigate this. Is this considered harassment, bullying, SA, assault, all these other things, the violation of freedoms of speech, and all these other things? Why can't we take the case to them? Because Asmongold is large. Hasn't he at one point think, my community might be, throwing shame on innocent people for no reason, right? People that might not know who Asmongold is, right? They are actual people who don't know who he is. They don't know who he is. He's just, even though he's like this huge content creator that receives millions and millions of views every so and then, yes, millions of views, there's people who don't know him that get, randomly harassed by his entire community once they jump into our business. Why haven't we done the same to Refs as Desu? We need to probably do that same for them. Now, rather than playing their dirty game of, doing engagement, why don't we fact check them all at once? Why don't we use the very services and tools against them? Here is my idea for how I can do this one. So Grok AI is meant to spread right-wing propaganda and political agenda. The entire platform of X is meant to pass an agenda. It is purely pushing right-wing extreme content on top of factually checked content. Right, content like mine is more prone to basically getting nothing. What if we use the very system against them? Because I analyzed the algorithm. Because something that most people didn't do is analyze the algorithm. And I happen to be somebody who was shoved down underneath by the algorithm. And now finally getting noticed, right? I'm actually exploding. So why don't we use the very tools against them? Why don't we use Grok? The thing that's supposed to, because most of the time, these people who are right-wing usually spit out of their mouth. They usually spit nothing burgers, right? Without thinking, because it's actually easy to say misinformation online, right? It is easy to say that. Why don't we do the same? Why don't we just why don't we use Grok AI and ourselves in the same process and start using the same inflammatory language against them? And while they say, because you're sending your community to do this, we're like, why don't we actually embrace that? Let's embrace the fact that they think that we're harassing their communities. Let's do the opposite. Let's embrace it. Let's see what they think. Why don't we use their own words against them? Because this is something I tested in some of the multiple shorts that I've been posting of just large content creators basically starting to change sides. We have the huge change sides thing. The equivalence of the entire internet medium modicum has definitely morphed and transformed over time. So one thing I've been testing recently is that now we do have bots, right? Bots going around, foreign bots going around spreading a bunch of nothing burgers, right? There are some people who generally believe in MAGA, right? But there are bots that go around spilling misinformation. So here's something that we're doing and that I did. I started to use the very words against them. For example, when I went online, right, and I decided to start testing out this theory of mine, I started saying, why don't we, like, I said this thing. So people from MAGA usually mock people for resisting ICE. So I was like, why don't we talk back to them as if we were ICE officers? Metaphorically. We're like, why don't we have I send my friends to hunt you down in mask and pepper spray you and take your family and split them apart and take your kids away? I said that. I said that to a person in the comments. Yes, I genuinely did this. And if people look far enough, you'll see me, sending threats metaphorically over to these comments. And these people were like, oh, look at that, guys. Look at this leftist. Look at this violent leftist. I'm like, I'm using the same words against them. So I rather than rather than allowing them to get the anticipation of, getting my attention, I just immediately go threat. I just say it. I'm not doing it, but I'm saying it metaphorically. And they're like, look at this violent leftist. I'm like, but you're using the same terminology. The same terminology has been used by your side. Whenever somebody resists ICE, your side does it. And psychologically, due to me defeating these multiple candidates, because we have Alexandra, Hank Green is out there saying his things, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, even Tyler the Creator, even Polarica has been saying it, Omar has been doing it, Rosario Grimm, we have Lily doing this, we have all these creators going out there. Same for, like the amount of fact checking I had to do recently is up on numbers. So we're going to do the same thing. What I did is that, how Elon Musk usually pushes up the algorithm, right, for misinformation, right? So what I began doing is every time I sent a reply underneath somebody's post, I said the exact same thing in a quote, right, in a quote post. I'm gonna do that just in case they block me, so that no matter what, even if they block me or they delete their post, my quote post still remains up there, right? It's a counter. I always have the blocked accounts in order, and I always check their names. I always have an all account right there to circumvent the bans or the blocks, right? And I do that on purpose. Why? Because Elon Musk never specifically put down in terms of service, right? Which I did read the terms of service for X/Twitter, because I'm a crazy person and I have lots of time on my hands. I said, nothing said I could do this type of strategy in order to inflame content on the algorithm. So basically, the algorithm is tricked into thinking that I'm an extreme right-wing content creator. It thinks that I'm an extreme right-wing content creator. And so my posts immediately started getting thousands of views. I tricked it. I immediately started getting thousands of views on those posts. Ironically, on the platform I don't like using. YouTube is supposed to be the main form of it, right? It's the main form. But on Twitter, well, there are thousands of views rolling in because it's confusing me for a right-wing content creator. Why is that? For the way I speak, and not only is because of the way I speak, Grok is the AI inbuilt to the system in the algorithm. So whenever I use it to pass a statement, Grok's AI immediately assumes I'm engaging in right-wing content. And so with engaging in right-wing content, Grok pushes my posts up and says, hey, look at this post. Look at this guy. He seems to be interesting. Check the Projecttian now. And so the algorithm pushes me up. So this is something quite insane to do, but it was part of the largest social experiment I could possibly do right now. All I want to say is F ICE, right? F Trump, F Asmongold, F Restless Desu. Now we need to discover and release something on Chibi Reviews. Chibi Reviews is something that we have left to visit, right? He's still in the equation. If we can get rid of Chibi Reviews, right? If we can get rid of Chibi Reviews, Asmongold, Restless Desu, Kirsch Freshstall, and Smugalana, and all these right-wing content creators like Leaflet, Asari, Decoy Voice, right? If we can get rid of those guys, you know what will happen? A large cleansing. There will be a humongous cleansing of right-wing content. This is something that I'm starting to notice. So we do have people fighting in between themselves. So here's one thing I started doing. Because of the way I'm doing this and portraying how I post things and how I say things, I'm able to separate these people into different bubbles. So I'm taking Donald Trump's strategy and reverse polarizing the entire thing. So instead, I'm unifying these people into different groups of hatred, right? They hate specific things. And I said, hey, this guy hates your type of people. He hates the Polish. And this guy is a Polish. He's a Polish nationalist. He loves Trump even though he doesn't live in America. He lives in Poland, right? And I said, oh, but look at this guy. This guy hates Polish people and he hates MAGA. It's a lie. It's a straight up lie. I lied. And so he immediately believes it, and said, oh, he really hates Polish MAGA people, I'm gonna harass this guy. That's what they would do. And so I got people to start fighting each other because they don't do their research. Because these people don't do their research, it was easy to trick most of these people to start fighting in between themselves because they don't know what is real. They basically take word of mouth. I took advantage of the hearsay effect and the snowball effect to get these people to fight in between themselves. And so what that did was attract all sorts of really interesting people, all sorts of really good people, but also sorts of really mean and grotesque people. Advanced GG said their statement here, right? Talking about we want to do, right? You know, nobody cares, right? And then 1 hour ago, they posted this. We've completed our internal review and have ended the partnership relationship at issue. We won't be discussing individual details publicly. Our standards are enforced consistently, and staff and community safety come first. They were not budging. And after 3 days of atrocious amounts of backlash and huge waves of just famous people and smaller people and semi-famous people and all over the globe, the entire globe, they folded. They actually folded. We had an actual numerous amounts of companies say, you know what, we give up. And we were like, we did it, but we're not done. Rest says Desu, he's still around. We gotta remove this guy. This guy can't be everywhere. He shouldn't be making the things he's doing. He does not look like the man that will apologize. He will not apologize. So I have something for that. Why can't somebody investigate him? So here's one thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna openly say this on my channel. I want somebody who is close to Rev to investigate him in secret. I want somebody to investigate him, to stalk him, to actually pick up all sorts of dirty details about Rev, because every racist has a terrible history. And they love to hide their history under toxic hatred. Those are undertones, my friends. Those are things that you learn with time. Every racist has a bad history. They have something to hide. So I want somebody to investigate him in secret, who is very close with Rev, to take photos, screenshot this shrill, right? Find him out. Put it into a huge document. I want people who are scared of this man to, finally find the courage and say, you know what? Here is my experience with Rev. If we can get a swarm amount of this type of bad press against Red Says Desu, we will be able to take this guy out of the equation fast as possible. Because we should do the same with Asmongold. Asmongold is not the type to apologize either. So rather than that, why don't we investigate Asmongold? We should investigate Asmongold. He is next, right? If we can take out Red Says Desu and Asmongold, you know how much of a relief it will be if we can finally cancel these people and get them to fold? Quite a lot. So, at the moment, in our time, and my roblox team is just not doing its thing right? We're gonna go like this. I'm gonna open this page. I'm gonna do that. I have to literally open and close my Firefox, right? It's still not done. So of all things that we're doing, we have to deal with Smogalana, Filian, Leaflet, Nasari. Those are smaller people, smaller weights, not even too problematic. They're just annoying people, pretty ignorable, pretty forgettable, not any participant member of society. So those are the lightweights. We have to take care of the big people. Res has Desu, Asmongold, Chibi Reviews. Chibi Reviews is like the normie, right? He's like the normie racist. The normie racist likes children and lollies. And Asmongold is like the normie gamer streamer. Asmongold's the normie gamer streamer who is racist and an old man who does not have to clean after himself. Resas Desu is a VTuber who is more of a degenerate racist gamer. And he likes lollies based on what he wants in his perspective. So Let's say we do the same exact thing that they do. Let's cherry pick narratives. Why don't we cherry pick narratives just like they do and use that against them? Why don't we do that? Let's cherry pick narratives against them. Let's do that and investigate them at the same time. Because this is the weakness about racists like them. They are highly gullible and highly egotistical creatures. They will trust their friends with their heart, their life. If we can have one of their friends betray them, then they are over. That is their weakness. They are gullible, egotistical creatures. Racists do not understand morals, so we shouldn't use morals against them. We're going to befriend a few people. In the process, they'll think that they've won any sort of war or battle. And they'll think so and put that inside their head and convince themselves that they've won everything because they think so. Well, let them think so, actually. No. Part of something that I learned about dealing with people who are not able to learn or listen or grow is that actually let them think they won. Let them think they won. Because they're the most unguarded when they think that they can turn away just for a few minutes. And that's when you can pounce on their history and expose them for the sicked, wretched humans that they are. And until then, right? Nobody is winning. We're only finding understanding. These are human beings just like you are, just like I am. They are human beings, so they have emotions. Not treat them as emotionless creatures. Continue to talk to them as if they were still emotional creatures of moral sense. Fact check them and gaslight them. And then show them, oh, I lost. Let them cheer. Let them laugh. Because when they turn their back away, that's when we pounce. Because then they trust everything that they think of themselves. Because they're thinking about themselves, they never think about what's going on behind the scenes. And so they forget about their friends in the entire equation. Because they're only thinking about themselves. So they won't know that somebody's investigating them secretly. Crazy about this is that in the psychological aspect of this, even if I say this publicly, nobody would know if I'm still investigating somebody, and they wouldn't know when I started. You wouldn't know when I started. These people, most of the time, have already shown their face. Doxing them is not going to do a thing. Doxing these people do not do a thing. You're only getting yourself in more danger, and you're getting yourself more liably. You're justifying them taking you to court and screwing you over. We had this happen with Tecton, right? And he spent as much money possible to defeat the case against his very girlfriend. And he still lost. He still lost the case with his girlfriend. The girlfriend won. Beat him, right? It was pretty easy. In a state not really known for that. If we continue to bring up the Epstein files and all these other things that have been going on, right? If we can continue this pressure, tell them about what is going on. I'm gonna go over here because I feel like I'm gonna play this. Let's give them a change of scenery. I'm just moving my avatar around. I'm gonna do this. Show this. Show the screen. Do that. We're gonna show them who's the best, right? Lots have been happening, right? And I think that's a community note. I think this community note. OP is referring to videos in which he pointed out in regards to defending journalists continually in rated games. And then this is a personal post and opinion which don't need post dislike on it. Oh. Alright. You're gonna lose. I don't have to explain why they're gonna lose. When you say you hate immigrants, we love immigrants. The very people who do have to leave this country, the ones who will leave this country, who we don't want in this country, are racists. Simple as that. If you're a racist, get out of the country. If you're a pedophile, get out of the country. If you're any of those suckers that I'm seeing on the platform and I see your face and I completely fact check you in 3 to 4 replies, just like I did for this content creator with over 1 million subscribers, I'm gonna fuck your ass, right? I'm gonna fuck your career, right? I already did that to one guy. I did it to a full, right, of an entire crowd of Muslim fellas who tried to beef with me on the internet, who were fact checked by me. Fact checked by me. One guy against your hundreds of thousands or millions of followers. If anybody wants to debate me, invite me. I got my friends as well, and they'd love to join the debate and destroy your entire career in front of a very large crowd of uninformed users who follow you. I want them to feel regret and shame for having followed you in the first place. You're not on the right side of history, and neither are you on the worst side of history. You will never have the glory of seeing your name put on there as a savior, because you're going to be put down there as a villain, as a criminal, as an extreme, hypocritical loser who knows nothing else and doesn't value life. You're an insult to life itself. You need to rethink everything over, and if I ever see you compliment me ever again, I want you to go back, cry to your mom, and talk with other people who make sense, rethink everything over, do not talk to me or block me, and I hope never to see you again. If I see you lose your career over it, and I see you begging for mercy over to me, do not talk to me. We will not talk again. I've fact-checked enough people, I've done this for years, and I can do it again. I will step over your pride, I will destroy your ego, and I will make sure you stop smiling for the rest of your life, making you think and make you pay for every single act of cruelty you have done for the past few years, being a content creator, lying about every single thing that you have done to this day, faking everything until you make it. I, as the Projecttian, will step over you, and I hope I put a shadow upon you and your very existence, and I will make you wish you were unborn. And I will say, once again, in times of these types of things, right, in these times, desperation can only get you so far. You can only be so cruel. You can only do so much with money. You can only do so much with sending agents to terrify people, or spreading a bunch of lies on the internet. That can only go so far. One thing that most people who are like you, who might be watching this video through hate watching, you have a limit. You have a limit. I don't have a limit. You have a limited amount of knowledge, but I have all sorts of knowledge. The Projecttian has been famously known for never giving up and always inspiring crowds to join in on the team. The Projecttian is merely a title I give myself. It was never who I fully am. You will be remembered for being a bigot, a piece of garbage. I think there is a huge difference that can be seen here. But there's something that does not make us different. Ironically, you are still a human just as I am. Isn't that interesting? We have so many differences, but yet you are still human. We all still bleed red. We bleed the same exact color. So, I'm going to repeat this again. For the cadets who are watching this video, for the ones who I inspired, for the ones who I've aided, for the ones who worked with me, helped make this possible, who I've worked with, You guys never laugh at anything I say. For the ones who are beside me, helping me throughout this journey. The channel is only still in a really young stage, pretty much, because the channel is still not pulling off the way it should be. It does not change my entire goal. I have many numerous goals, unlike most people I met who have no ambitions left. All they do is seethe and lie themselves in truths and not see reality. But most of the cadets, the ones I truly understand, who truly talk to me, who truly listen to me for who I am, you're the true walking differences of the world. I appreciate that. Throughout all the misery, I stand as one, the great creator. I truly believe that this movement can turn into something really amazing. Nothing has ever phased that. My vision stays the same. I truly believe in a universal community of people where people are not hating each other for their differences, no matter what, in any possible way. That seems like an extreme idea, seems like a radical idea, seems like a leftist woke idea, but I don't think so. I don't think so. Every person who has stepped in my way always learned the hard lesson. When you step in front of me, you step in my will. And nobody has so far recently defeated my will. My willpower is extremely large. And most people don't have that type of energy inside them. Most of them decide to laugh it off and do really scumbag things and fool around, gizzy around, or act as if nothing is happening and think that everything is okay. You are the ones who are truly losing everything. You have less of an understanding of the world compared to the friends I made, the true ones I made, not ones who are fake. My family is found not in the people who share the same blood as I do. They're the ones who understand, who listen. That's my family. You, the ones who believe that I'm still wrong and think that I'm trying to act all righteous, then so be it. You're not winning this fight anytime soon, my friend. We're gonna destroy you. We're gonna stop you. That will be it. Stay strong. Be together as one. Stay safe out there. Know your rights. Protest peacefully. Never think that you have. Share kindness and don't do horrible things. If you play into their violent agenda and their violent propaganda agenda, you are playing into their hands, and you're merely as low as them. Don't fall into their hands, and don't go low as low as they do. That's all I have to say. Stay safe out there. Be informed. In times where facts are not considered from harassment, what you say about me is what you say about society. And as always, I've been at this for 8 years. I hope to be here for longer, and I hope to not be here in the same exact spot as well. I want to meet some really interesting people. I've always been looking for interesting people, and I have found some interesting people. And if only I could get them all in the same spot where I was, I would be able to. But, that's something really different. Dreams and visions are going very far. But besides that, making it iconic, that's my role. I think that's all I have to say.